Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, that's good. So today, this is chapter. We wanted to speak about Lord Jagannath. We are doing Jagannath Rath Yatra in about 10 days' time. So it's good to understand who is he and why are we doing this Jagannath Rath Yatra. So the next couple of sessions, we'll talk about Lord Jagannath. So this is a slok from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 1, chapter, text number 121. Punarapi nila chale gamana karila, bhakta gane me liya snana yatra dakhila. So after the translation, after collecting these books, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri. At that time, the bathing ceremony of Jagannath was taking place, and he saw it. So this bathing ceremony is called the Snan Yatra. It takes place 2 weeks before Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra, and it is a really wonderful occasion to witness in Jagannath Puri. So, where is Jagannath Puri? So this is Orissa, and within Orissa, Puri is on the coast here, near the capital, Bhubaneswar. So, okay. So, Jagannath Puri is also called Purushottam Kshetra. Purush is the Supreme Lord. Uttam. Purush is actually male. Uttam, the best. So Purushottam is another name for Supreme Lord. Kshetra means place. Whilst performing his duty of secondary creation, Visarga, Lord Brahma became compassionate for the fallen souls. How will they ever come out of this samsara? So we are stuck in this samsara, birth and death, birth and death. So Brahma became compassionate. He petitioned the Lord, pleasing him, and was informed by Vishnu that there is a very sacred place within this world, which is not under Brahma's jurisdiction. And it's called Purushottam Kshetra, present day Jagannath Puri. This is the home of Neelamadhav, four-armed sapphire colored of Vishnu. It's a very beautiful form and offers the soul the chance to attain love for the Lord. He advised Brahma to visit this place. So this is an idea of this beautiful deity called Neelamadhav. Very, very beautiful. He's like a sapphire color and four-armed form of Vishnu. So this is where this Kshetrapuri, Purushottam Kshetra is where the darshan can be had of Nila Madhav at that time. Brahma and Yamraj went there. They saw a crow flying overhead. The crow touched the water of Rohini Kund and immediately transformed into the four-handed form like that of Lord Vishnu and returned to the spiritual world. Brahma was ecstatic and Yamraj was shocked. What is the point of my existence? If everybody gets liberated just like that, then Yamraj is going to be unemployed. Lakshmi Devi appeared and explained that no one has jurisdiction here. She explained the glory of Purushottam Kshetra, the pastimes of Markandeya Rishi, who was blessed with a long life, 7 kalpas. 7 kalpas is like 7 days of Brahma, which is a very long life. And how the dham is shaped like a conch shell. So this is what Purushottam Kshetra looks like, Jagannath Puri. It's like a conch shell. This is the shape of this holy place. This is another example, shaped like a shank, conch shell. Lakshmi informed Brahma that when he turns 50, which he has just turned 50, the deity of that great land, Nilamada, will disappear. And he, Brahma, will counsel King Indradumna to perform 1,000 yagyas, at the end of which the Lord will appear as Jagannath. So this form of Jagannath is an eternal form of the Lord. King Indradumna was a great king in Satya Yuga, in Avantipura, northern Bharat. But he was dissatisfied with the futility of life. A sage advised him, a sage advised his experience years before about Nilamadev and Purushottam Kshetra and its location. So this is the sage. He came to the kingdom of Indradumna. He saw King Indradumna was very sad because he was not happy about the futility of life. So this sage had great compassion on the king, and he explained to him about Nilamadhav and Purushottam Kshetra. So then King Indradumna consulted with his chief minister and decided to send a learned Brahmin called Vidyapati, who was also the brother of the chief minister, to Purushottam Kshetra in order to find Neelam Madhav. After a long and difficult journey, he finally came across Vishwavasu, a tribal chief. Eventually, this tribal chief, Vidyapati, discovered that this Vishwavasu was secretly worshipping Nilamadhav. So this Vishwavasu stayed at the home of Vidyapati. Vidyapati stayed at the ashram of Vishwavasu, knowing that something was going on, that Vishwavasu was not revealing who he was worshipping, Nilamadhav. And Vidyapati eventually married the daughter of Vishwavasu. So years passed. And due to the daughter's pleas, Vishwavasu finally agreed to show Lord Nilamadhav to Vidyapati. So, but only if he went to the site blindfolded, because Vishwavasu wanted to keep it a secret, Nilamadhav. He wanted to keep it a secret. The reason he wanted to keep it a secret was he thought that because he was always enjoying the worship of the Lord, he thought somebody would one day take him away, and then he would not get the opportunity to serve him. Anyway, the Brahmin, Vidyapati, he went blindfolded, but he tricked the father-in-law by sprinkling mustard seeds along the path, seeds that would eventually sprout and lead the king Indradumna, to claim the Lord's residence. So this was very interesting how Vidyapati, on the way to the worship of Nilamadhav, sprinkled mustard seeds on the route. And years later, these trees came up. For many years, Nilamadhav had been served by Vishwavasu with very simple fruits and flowers. He explained how the devatas would come every day to opulently worship Nilamadhav. So this is Vidyapati walking to the worship Nilamadhav. However, knowing the prayers of King Indradumna, Nilamadhav spoke to Vishwavasu. So the Lord, the deity, spoke to Vishwavasu and revealed his intentions of accepting more opulent worship according to the desires of King Indradumna. Vishwavasu was devastated. This is what he was scared of, that one day the Lord will go away. That the deity was speaking to him did not strike Vishwavasu as remarkable, because he was too much absorbed in grief at Nilamadhav's desire. He blamed Vidyapati for persuading Nilamadhav to accept Indradumna's worship, accusing the Brahman of cheating him out of God's favor. Vishwavasu bound Vidyapati with ropes. So he blamed Vidyapati. He really bound him up. But his daughter heard her husband's cries for help and freed him to return to Avantipuri, to King Indradumna. Upon Vidyapati's return and hearing the glories of Nilamadhav, Indradumna climbed upon his chariot and led an army to the mountain, where they located the trail of mustard plants. They finally reached the temple door, only to discover that Nilamadhav had vanished, gone. Because that was the prediction by Lakshmi Devi, that the beginning of the 50th year of Brahma, Nilamadhav would leave and Jagannath would come. Vishwavasu was suspected of removing the deity. In his desperation to keep the Lord, he might have done anything. However, when they found the tribal chief, he was still mourning Nilamadhav's departure. Not believing his lamentation, they arrested Vishwavasu. But suddenly, Narad Muni, the great sage, appeared, revealing what had happened to Nilamadhav. The Lord had withdrawn due to his own choosing via a cyclone, but he would reappear again in the form of Lord Jagannath to bestow benedictions upon the entire world. So, whereas Nilamadhav had enjoyed the simple and intimate service of Vishwavasu, his appearance as Jagannath would be for the benefit of everyone, and in the form of Daru Brahman. Daru means wood, Brahman means the supreme. First, however, Narad Muni announced that a great temple must be constructed. Then Lord Brahma, chief of the demigods, would receive Indradumna on his own planet and plan for the sacred installation of Jagannath, Lord of the universe. This is Jag. Jag means Jagad, whole universe. Nath means the supreme protector of the universe. When the temple was finally completed, Narad Muni escorted Indradumna to his father's abode on Satyaloka. So, Narad Muni's father is Lord Brahma. So Indradumna was taken by Narad Muni to Satyaloka. The home of Lord Brahma is inaccessible to ordinary human beings. But so great was Indradumna's devotion to God that even Lord Brahma was eager to meet him. Lord Brahma described how Lord Jagannath would appear in a wooden form from a great Kalpa Vriksha tree transported from Shvetadvipa. Lord Brahma advised Indradumna to perform sacrifices to please the Lord. 1,000 Ashwamedha Yajna. Then Indradumna returned to earth from Brahma's planet. He noticed that things had changed. Though he was away for what seemed a short time, the earth had aged many years. No one recognized him in his own kingdom, and his trusted priest, Vidyapati, had been replaced by another. Because Lord Brahma's time, if 1 second is spent there, it's like 100,000 years on earth. So when Indradumna came back, nothing was the same. Everything had changed. Despite his hardship, Indradumna remained steadfast in his courage. He knew that God sometimes tests the love of his devotees by removing all objects of affection. King Indradumna was determined to hasten the Lord's arrival by fasting, if necessary, until death. And at the same time, Brahma has advised him, he performed the 1,000 yajnas. My goodness. So he was performing yajna after yajna. Then Mahavishnu and Lakshmi Devi appeared in a dream, and the king was guided to a great log floating in the ocean. No ordinary tree. This giant log had come uprooted from the spiritual sky, part of the same transcendental energy as the Lord's own body. Even the might of his army could not budge it. So this log is actually from the spiritual world. It's actually the Supreme Lord in the form of the log. A tribal man, descendant of Vishavasu, stepped from the crowd and handled the huge log with ease, because that was the family tradition. The Lord was very kind upon that tradition. And he carried the sacred log to Gundicha temple for preparation. The greatest craftsmen in all the world assembled to carve the Lord's deity form, according to scripture injunctions. But all their tools simply shattered to pieces. Then a mysterious old Brahmin appeared. His name is Ananta Maharana. Actually, he's Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. And he agreed to carve the deity of the Lord. However, it had to be done on his own terms. Complete isolation for 3 weeks. The gates were locked, and the beat of the chisel resounded for days. After only 2 weeks, it stopped, and Indradumna was worried. The Brahmin was old. Perhaps something has happened to him. Overcoming the restraints of priests and advisors, the king wrenched open the door to discover an unusual sight, a form of the deity never seen before. The Lord's form was apparently unfinished, having no hands or feet, and the emperor feared that he had made a great mistake in opening the door too early. The aged sculptor had vanished. Indradumna felt ashamed until the Lord's plan was finally revealed by Narad Muni. He then described how he had seen this form before while visiting Dwarka. So this is what happened. This is the form of actually Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Indradumna opened the door, and it appeared that they were only half finished. No hands, no legs. But Narad Muni said, "Hey, dear king, don't worry. This is a Leela of the Lord." So what happened? One day, the residents of Dwarka are said to be in the mood of opulence, Aishwarya, and they worship Krishna as the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, the residents of Vrindavan are in the mood of sweetness, Madhurya. So they don't have that same awe and reverence for the Lord. They love him for who he is. And they have a confidential relationship with Krishna that surpasses awe and reverence because it is based on friendship and love. So one time in Dwarka, the queens asked, "What is so special?" So the queens, there were like 16,108 queens in Dwarka. And whenever Krishna was with them, he would always be thinking of Vrindavan. So the queens, they asked, they were always surprised. They were always wondering, how come? What's so special about Vrindavan? What's so special about the Brijbasis? Krishna, even when he is with us, always seems so distracted, and sometimes he calls out in the middle of the night the name of Radha. There is so much in Dwarka. We have palaces, children. We are their queens. Opulence is there. But somehow or other, he's always thinking about Brijbasis. So they requested Rohini. Rohini is the mother of Balaram, who lived with Krishna when he was in Vrindavan. So Rohini was with them in Dwarka. So they asked Rohini, "What's so special about Vrindavan?" So she revealed the pastimes. Rohini's narration was thus extremely confidential. She posted Subhadra at the door to prevent anyone from hearing. Krishna and Balaram came to the door. So Rohini, she told them, nobody should hear this except the queens. They put Subhadra to wait outside the door. Don't let anybody in. But Krishna and Balaram, they came to the door and they stood on Subhadra's left and right sides. While listening to Rohini's narration of Krishna's intimate Vrindavan pastimes, Krishna and Balaram became ecstatic. This is the Supreme Lord themselves. When they were hearing about their own pastimes in Vrindavan, as spoken by Rohini, they became ecstatic. And in their ecstasy, their internal feelings were exhibited externally. Their eyes became dilated. Their heads compressed into their bodies and their limbs retracted. So the hands went inside the body, the legs went inside the body. This is the feeling of great ecstasy that they felt just hearing about their own pastimes in Vrindavan with the gopis. Seeing these transformations in Krishna and Balaram, Subhadra also became ecstatic and assumed a similar form. Thus, by hearing about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram, with Subhadra in between, displayed their ecstatic forms of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So this form of Krishna, Jagannath, is Krishna himself, but the very ecstatic form of Krishna, where he's got very large, dilated eyes, a huge smile on his face. And this is the very merciful form of Krishna, very, very kind, static form of Krishna, because he's listening to his own pastimes. So this is why Jagannath is so important in Vedic culture. Krishna's birthday is Janmashtami in the month of Bhadra, August, September. However, according to the Skanda Purana, the Jyesht Purnima, the full moon day of the month of May-June, is the birthday of Jagannath. So the apparent contradiction is understood as follows. The Jyesht Purnima is the time when Krishna appeared in the form of Jagannath with big dilated eyes and shrunken limbs. This is known as Mahabha Prakash, the ecstatic form of Krishna. Mahabha means the highest ecstasy, and Prakash means manifestation. So Jagannath is literally the highest ecstatic form of Krishna. This is a very, very important, merciful form of Krishna. Jagannath is the embodiment of Krishna's pangs of separation from the residents of Vrindavan, particularly Radha and Yashoda Mai. So Krishna also missed Radharani very much. Krishna missed Yashoda Mai. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not without feeling. He's not without love. He has great love for his devotees. He has great love for us as well, and he's missing us as well. Not to the extent of Radha and Yashoda, but to some degree. He's wanting us back in the spiritual world with him. So he comes as Jagannath to encourage us, to inspire us. And this is the beauty of Jagannath, Rath Yatra. When we please the Lord by performing Rath Yatra, it is to our benefit, it is to our credit that we will ultimately become reunited with the Supreme Lord. Narad Muni inadvertently witnessed Krishna's transformation to Jagannath, and he prayed to the Lord to appear like this again. So Narad Muni saw this, and he prayed, my dear Lord, your form of Jagannath, please bring it down to earth. Although the Lord is not obliged to anyone, he reciprocates with his devotees to fulfill their desires. In the Garga Samhita, Krishna states 1 to 74, I am full, all the epics in one, yet I surrender to the wishes of my devotee and come in whatever form he wants. So this is the mercy of the Lord. Thus, just as Krishna appeared as Nilamadhav to satisfy Vishwavasu, he appeared in the deity form as Jagannath and resides in Jagannath Puri to satisfy the desire of Narad. Since Krishna is not different from his body, his internal feelings showed externally, and he assumed the form of Jagannath. In a passage in the Vedas mentions that the Lord has no hands or feet, which impersonalists, those who want to merge with God, or those who are atheists, don't believe in God, they interpret that this denies the Lord's personal existence, that God does not have a personal form. But Jagannath's appearance proves that he is a person. Of course, unlike any other, he's a supreme person. He's Purushottam, and that he can still bestow blessings and accept offerings of love, even without hands and feet. Then Narad Muni said to the king that Krishna fulfilled his promise that he would come in this form. Narad announced that his father, Lord Brahma, would soon arrive to install the Jagannath deity. The chief priest said that the deity of Jagannath, along with his brother Baladev and sister Subhadra, should be painted and dressed and be prepared for the installation ceremony by Lord Brahma. Now, this is Jagannath Puri temple, Jagannath temple, very, very famous temple. And it's got this chakra at the top, which is visible from miles away. It's a beautiful, beautiful temple. And Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they reside in this temple. That's another view. And a closer view. And a much closer view of the famous chakra. There's a lot of mystery behind this temple. Look at that. Chakra is pretty big. Every day they change the flag. And these amazingly brave young men go up and change the flag. So this is the sizes of the raths, the carts, and we'll talk about the pastime of why this Rath Yatra takes place, hopefully tomorrow. Any questions, any comments? So this is an explanation of who Jagannath is and why he appears in this very unusual form. No hands, no legs, big eyes, big smile.
Can you explain in easy way why he appeared like this?
Okay, because when he heard about his Bal Leela,
Yeah.
he heard his Bal Leela spoken by Rohini, Krishna became very, what's the word? Excited. He was happy. He was intensely enjoying that pastime, so intensely that his hands went into his body. His neck went into his body. His legs went into his body. And he ended up with this form of Jagannath with big eyes and a big smile. Because he was listening to his own pastimes in Braj with the Radharani and Yashoda Mai. So he was very ecstatic, in great joy, in great joy. So that resulted. His internal feelings came outside.
Outside, yeah.
So
thank you.
Thank you very much, Madhuben. So this is why he appears as Jagannath. So
yeah, it's interesting.
It's hard to understand. It is little hard to understand.
Yeah, I never, no, not never, but I didn't know much about, these old stories.
Yeah. But this is the
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and all the devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, I went to see my friend today.
No problem, Prabhu. No problem.
So we went to see Jagannath ji.
Very nice. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, we just finished the story of Jagannath. Why he comes.
Yeah, I know you have told me before, so I've listened it, but I will listen in YouTube tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So if there's no other questions, we can stop. Lord Jagannath ki jai, Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Baladev ki jai, Subhadra Maharani ki jai.